Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Kernels of Truth, brought to you by Progress Kentucky. Thanks so much for joining us again this week. We've got a fantastic show lined up for you. I am over the moon about the guests we're bringing you this week. Before we get into the guests, we're going to talk about some breaking Kentucky political news, a few interesting stories, some news happening out of Richmond. We're thrilled about that information to bring you. And then we're going to be talking to poet and activist and political consultant Hannah Drake, coming to us from Louisville. Hannah is just a force across the national political landscape. But we're going to have a chat with her about what's going on in Kentucky and how folks should be thinking about their opportunities to make change in this really, really important time. So thanks so much for joining us again. Should be a fantastic show with you. Before we get into it, I want to make sure that you're here for the right reasons. You're not just here for your, Kentucky political news rundown or cool, famous people to talk to, but you're here to make significant real political change and working to help take Trump's power, right? So we know we need to make a difference here in Kentucky. The status quo is not acceptable. Progress Kentucky is going to be focused for the next year on flipping the Kentucky 6th district, as well as key state house seats that are within the 16-county congressional district. We've got 4 great candidates running for the 6th, but we are looking beyond the primary, working to shift the electorate who will ultimately show up next November. Really a big job. It's going to take a lot of volunteers. It's going to take time, a lot of resources. We really do need your help. We had an amazing Flip the 6th campaign volunteer event at the Lexington West 6th Barrel Room earlier this month. About 50 folks came out. We were like standing room only, or like ran out of sitting room, basically, coming together to write postcards to voters that need engagement, that need dialogue, and need encouragement to show up for the next November's election. If you want to help out, please make plans to join us next month. We're going to do the first Monday of the month. Or you can reach out before that and we can help get you set up to start writing postcards to your neighbors. But January 5th will be our next first Monday of the month event. We will be back at West 6th Barrel Room, so in Lexington. There's a mobilized event to sign up, but I hope you'll help out, right? And if your handwriting is too illegible to be helpful, I get it. Please make a monthly contribution right now via our secure online website, Act Blue, to help turn Kentucky 6th purple. $6 a month, $16 a month, $1 for every county in that district, or $600 one-time contribution. Do whatever you can do. We appreciate all of it and encourage all of it. So thanks. Now let's check in with our co-hosts. Let us know who you are, where you are, and who is on your biting list. So I'll start. I'm Aaron right now in Washington, D.C., here for some work stuff. But on my biting list, and this is probably a reflection of what I've been doing all day today, but my biting list is populated by the Ohio senator, neighbor to the north, Bernie Moreno, former car salesman, I guess, made a fortune selling cars. He says that we, the U.S., were duped by China to start building EVs. Kentucky is, of course, one of the largest EV battery manufacturing states in the country, with over $10 billion in corporate investments focused on building the U.S. EV manufacturing supply chains that we need to compete with China. But this big dummy thinks we should never have built these factories. And of course, these tens of thousands of jobs, I guess, are what? A bad idea? So it doesn't really make any sense to me that this guy's saying we were duped. They definitely have a head start and a bit of a manufacturing advantage, but we cannot cede the landscape to China. That is ridiculous. All those EV manufacturing jobs would just evaporate if we let China kind of run the EV universe. So, heard that news, got to put them on the biting list. And Ohio, of course, they're probably just jealous of Kentucky's EV battery factories that our governor Andy Beshear landed over the past few years. But really dumb idea. So let's check in with our co-host. Let us know who you are, where you are, and who is on your biting list right now. Chris Priest, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here in Berea, Kentucky. The weather looks really nice right now. So my Bitin list is the one and only Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of War, who has decided to hijack a oil tanker outside Venezuela. I guess we're doing Iraq 2.0, but in Venezuela. Um, so yeah, all that America first, I guess, is really about let's go get some more oil.
Yeah, that, while it's surprising to me that we have taken over a Venezuela oil tanker, clearly the oil being the motivation, I think makes way more sense than these, like, drugs that probably aren't even really coming to America. And, that just seems, it's like, oh, they finally let slip what the real motivation was.
Oh yeah, on all the far right news channels, they're talking about how mineral rich Venezuela is. So yeah, that's they're trying to steal their cookie, and which is sickening. We have one planet, we can share resources, we can be a lot better than this. We don't have to be just a big corporate run slosh pit of despair.
No, slosh pit. No one wants to be a slosh pit of despair. I feel like your sump pump experiences are coming through. But all right. So, Kimberly, I see you there. Who's on your Biden list?
Well, first of all, hello everyone to our viewers and listeners. And I'm coming to you live from Louisville, Kentucky, Jefferson County. And my Biden list today is the Republicans in Congress. We've already seen how they will allow the executive branch of the no type of president that we have more and more and more power. We know how that went down with the Supreme Court. We know the powers that they are allowing him that he is not supposed to have. And just in case people don't know this, the constitutional role of Congress, in case everybody doesn't know exactly what they do have power over, not the executive branch, but the actual legislative branch, that's your Congress. They have a constitutional role to their power to appropriate funds, to declare war, levy taxes, and also you can include tariffs in there. So everyone knows basically what's been going on and how our so-called president has exceeded his powers, and they attempt to allow him to do this. There are a few Republicans at this point that are giving a little nudge, but really with him, you're going to have to push him off the cliff, so to speak. So we don't count them because their voices are not very much heard. And I'm sure that they're scared as well. But yeah, they would be on my Biting list. They're going to keep giving this man power, keep turning their heads when he does the most. And we're going to continuously be in this cauldron, I guess you could call it, of just every day it's something. Back to you, Aaron.
Yeah, it is. I'm in DC. I just actually walked from the House side to my hotel, which is on the Senate side. So I got to walk past the Capitol. The lights are on. There was actually, members were driving up for a vote, and it inspires me, right? I love being at the seat of our democracy and seeing the buildings and the majesty and the it's inspiring. But then you think about oh yeah, these are the clowns that have given up all their power so that the Trump administration can advance their authoritarian playbook, and they're just a rubber stamp on what is some of the worst ideas ever about our political system, right? So this leaping authoritarianism empowered by that Congress. And it's first I'm inspired, then I'm infuriated. So yeah, I feel you, Kimberly, for sure. All right, folks, let's do our news of the week. We got some important stories to bring you right now. I think the first story is coming to us from Kim.
Yes, and I got all of this wonderful information from the Kentucky Lantern. We love them. They're very thorough in their reporting. So they're pretty much trustworthy. So you all go check them out, the Kentucky Lantern. But our governor is now urged to order a moratorium on utility disconnections through the winter. Normally, you don't think about this that much because there's always some type of program that's happening to help families in need pay for their electric and gas bills. But this year could maybe be a little bit different than what we know it to be. So there is a coalition of advocacy groups right now that's really urging our government to halt utility disconnections in Kentucky until March. I don't know how that's going to go with these companies, but this is what they're wanting the governor to do. The groups are led by the Kentuckians for Energy Democracy. They gathered in front of the state capitol in Frankfort, urging our governor to issue this. But there is some uncertain future. As we well know, it all kinds of collides together, I guess you could say, with the federal housing and the food assistance. Because I know you all heard about these states that are not complying with Trump may have some difficulties down the line giving out food stamps, or rather known as SNAP, to people. So heating and air comes into play with that as well. So they did a call to action during the record-long federal government shutdown earlier this year, but there was a release from the coalition. And let me tell you who the coalition is. You probably heard of some of these organizations and may not have known that they work upon things like this, such as the Metropolitan Housing Coalition, the Kentucky Conservative Committee, the Sierra Club Kentucky, Vocal Kentucky, Kentuckians for the Commonwealth, and a plethora of others. They want a reprieve from the recent government shutdown, and it doesn't change the dire situation that many people are facing this winter amidst rising electricity and other costs. They're also saying that no one should have to choose between groceries, buying medicine, or keeping the heat on. Yet, Kentucky continues to have no statewide utility disconnection policy for extreme weather conditions. So some of the advocacy groups during the past legislative sessions in Frankfort have been supporting state legislation that would prevent disconnections during extreme weather. During this year's legislative session, a Democratic-sponsored bill to limit when utilities could disconnect a customer, including on what the temperature is outside, unfortunately did not advance in the GOP-controlled legislature. So at this particular time, they're calling upon our governor to do this. I don't think that he would be unwilling to do it, but I don't know if he would be willing to do this until March. I think that might be a stumbling block for this to go through, or for the governor to really put his stamp on it, as is, I should say. So every week they're saying that that when they stall on this, more people are at risk. So these advocacy, I can't even speak tonight, okay? These advocacy groups will continue on with this work because it remains really important. Now, we also have what you want to call a challenge. I don't want to call it a problem, but we do have a challenge also because of the amount of federal funding approved by the GOP-controlled Congress for various social safety net programs still remains to be seen. Although the Trump administration has proposed eliminating a federal program that provides billions of dollars nationwide to help low-income people afford heating and cooling costs. Kentuckians receive tens of millions of dollars in funding through the Low-Income House Energy Assistance Program. Most of you all have probably heard it called LIHEAP in the last fiscal year. So I know that my son worked for LIHEAP one year, which is most of the time in your state, in your town, it is a city job. They normally get paid through the city of which you live. And I know that it would break his heart sometimes that he would see families come in that may not have met all the criteria to get that funding through LIHEAP. And you knew that they needed it. But with cuts to the federal monies coming into Kentucky and the cuts on the nonprofits and, just cut, just call Trump the cut creator. It's going to be pretty hard, and it's going to be a long, hard winter for some of our Kentuckians, and we just want to help as much as we can. So we hope that the governor will say something, that he will do something. We know our governor to be a man that's on top of it. I'm sure this is top of his list. However, this is a personal thought, not the governor's. I want to make that clear, that up until March may be a little long, so to speak. And we don't know if the energy companies will adhere to that anyway. So back to you, Aaron. Our governor is still doing what he does.
Yeah, I wonder, he didn't have a response to that, did he?
No, he did not yet. And I suppose
wonder
that he's not going to come out and really freely speak about this until his administration and his team is able to look over this. They're probably calling the energy companies right now, trying to work out something, negotiate something. There's a lot that probably goes into that, a lot of steps before he's going to actually speak upon that.
Yeah, but it does seem like it's something that's worth pursuing for sure. And we're not members of Kentuckians for Energy Democracy, but we're definitely supporters of a lot of their campaigns and efforts, and we've had them on our show from time to time on different elements of their campaign work. But yeah, really important issue. All right, so Chris, any thoughts about the disconnection on utilities?
Yeah, hopefully they can get the people the assistance they need. Certainly, it's important for people to know what resources are available to them. Actually, here in Berea, the city held it was on Monday, held a meeting for resources that were available for Bereans. I think this was primarily for the mayor to save face after booting somebody out of city council, a city council meeting when they were trying to talk about food assistance. But nevertheless, the meeting did happen, and they're trying to connect people with resources they need, which is important. I'm glad our city is doing that, and hopefully more cities will do that for whatever resources that they have to be able to help folks, let people know what's there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Being connected to local resources is absolutely critical to getting through, tough times during horrible weather, right? All right, so my story is next. This is actually a powerful opinion piece that was also in the Kentucky Lantern, because we really do love the Kentucky Lantern. This is an opinion piece from Evan Hawthorne, who's a medical student at the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, which is in Pikeville. He is completing his third year with a clerkship in Bowling Green. And he's on the National Board of Students for a National Health Program, and points out that 3 Kentucky babies are now dead from whooping cough, a disease we know how to prevent. He questions what kind of society lets children die from a solved problem. And in Kentucky, we know what vaccine-preventable disease looks like. Our own Senator Mitch McConnell lives with the lifelong effects of childhood polio. Public health once eliminated diseases like polio, but today that legacy is beginning to unravel. U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is the one pulling at the thread. So this goes through a really detailed and fairly long, just really indictment of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So this is, I think, there's a lot of really inappropriate folks serving under the Trump administration, leading in the Trump administration. I truly believe R.F. Kennedy is one of the worst. And the fact that we put a kind of a vax just skeptic, an anti-vax, anti-science individual in charge of the nation's premier health services, the world's premier health services program, is really just shameful. I did want to point out, and not often that we give credit to Republicans in this show, except for when they're right. So we've talked about Rand, opposing the kind of murders of Venezuelans offshore by our military. We've given credit to Massey for being an advocate for the Epstein files, for voting against some bad policy. Mitch McConnell was the only Republican senator to vote against RFK Jr. being health secretary, right? So even dummy Senator Bill Cassidy, who extracted a pledge from RFK Jr. that he would maintain the Centers for Disease Control Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, quote, without changes, which, he promptly lied about, right? Kennedy lied to Bill Cassidy to get his vote, and then went on and fired all the folks on that advisory committee and put his own anti-vaxxers in charge of the vaccine schedule, basically. And it's just outrageous. So in Kentucky, we've had 566 pertussis or whooping cough cases this year. The most recent death reported as a statistic, but that baby had a name, a story, a family. Politicians claim to care about children, but caring means telling the truth. Whooping cough is deadly to infants. Vaccines in pregnancy and early childhood are how we keep them alive. So it really is just shameful what's happening right now. There's a lot of recklessness happening. He is, doing a lot to revive long debunked claims that vaccines cause autism. And he's hired folks who have been given medical or lost their medical licenses because of the work they've done around vaccines, the non-scientific work they've done. Those people are now being revived and being put in charge of important studies. We've had 17 outbreaks of measles across the United States, worst in recent memory. We've had 2 outbreaks in Kentucky. During these measles resurgences, Kennedy promoted vitamin A as a treatment. Shortly after he did that, Texas doctors were treating children for vitamin A toxicity and liver damage because people followed his recommendations, non-scientific recommendations. So again, it's just shameful. RFK Jr. has broken his promises to senators. He's undermined science. He's jeopardized the health of millions. And Kentucky's McConnell put it plainly during his confirmation, quote, "I will not condone the relitigation of proven cures. Neither will millions of Americans who credit their survival and quality of life to scientific miracles." The question now this doctor poses is whether we will allow a 4th Kentucky infant to die from a preventable disease. I doesn't really get this. It's a powerful piece. I think people should read it. Doesn't really get at what we do about it, right? And I think McConnell said it during this confirmation. Millions of Americans will not condone this activity, but apparently we are, because he's still in charge, right? So, I think this is an issue that we really do need to see more accountability, and we need to see a change. We need to see a change in leadership before this agency is completely hollowed out and quacks are in charge of everything. So I don't know. Chris, Kimberly, thoughts about what's happening with the Department of Health and Human Services?
I actually think that Mitch McConnell voted against him because we have to remember that Mitch McConnell, as a child, he had polio. So someone like him would be the poster child to stand up to the establishment, I'll call it, when it comes to vaccinations and things like that, because he did have a brief period of time that was very gruesome for him, having polio.
For sure. No, absolutely. Having that first-hand personal connection, for sure.
The only thing
Chris,
the only thing that I think at this point is that we as Americans, providing that our FDA doesn't ban a lot of additives that are put into our foods as it is in other countries. That's why we are the most obese, the most in diabetes, the most in mental illness. There was an old saying back in the day, let thy food be thy medicine. I think we need to start getting back to how we eat, because we see right now medicines and vaccines may be a thing of the past, and we got to do what we got to do, and it's already here on the earth.
Yeah, and I think that stuff is kind of why that Maha, Robert Kennedy Jr. is good on diet stuff. He himself, I think, eats really weird and has weird practices. But that idea of whole food and getting away from processed food and additives and things like that. Yeah, everyone's yeah, that's good. We should do that for sure. but we should also keep using vaccines, right? It's like the kind of common sense stuff that he supports kind of is confronted by the crazy stuff that he's doing.
Look, we're gonna have to be like, sneaking around because they bringing it in from France or something, the vaccines, and we're gonna have to get with the dealer, to get a vaccine. I mean, it seems like it could go that way.
When RFK Jr. first got in, the farming community was really kind of buzzing that he might bring in Joe Salatin and some other very well-known like regenerative farming folks, and actually set agriculture on a correction course away from big ag. And nope, it has went the opposite direction. Because I'm sure that big ag went and shoved some money in Trump's pockets, and Trump said, "No, you're gonna support whoever's line in my pocket, and not doing the actual good regenerative agriculture stuff that we need, which is one of the things that my wife is really prominent about doing as we venture into this farming life."
Yeah, you are the proud new owners of a farm, so that's exciting. Are you going to get any of this bailout? There's a new Trump farm bailout that I heard about.
You probably have to have a minimum of like $1 million income or something to get.
Yeah.
To get that. I don't know.
Chris, we know you already got that money. Quit being stingy. Go ahead on that. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so we should keep going because we've got we got an amazing guest we got to get to, and we have a couple stories we want to hear coming to us from your neck of the woods, Chris.
Yeah, so Madison County has some news. So one of our prominent Republican representatives, Deanna Gordon, put her hat in the ring for the 6th district and has now rescinded that hat. And she said, "When I entered the congressional race, it was because I believe strongly in fighting for Kentucky values and helping move our country forward," in a press release. But over the past several weeks, it has become clear to me that my work in Frankfort isn't finished. My district and our commonwealth are facing critical challenges, and while I won't be in the fight for the 6th congressional seat, I'll be in the fight for the 81st district in Madison County and for Kentucky. And so that currently just leaves Ralph Alvarado, and who was a former Kentucky lawmaker, and Republican Representative Ryan Dotson, who those two have put their hat in the ring on the Republican side. The Democrat side is quite full of a lot of different people, but the Republican side is thinning out. So when something like this happens, my general guess is that she's just not raising the money that she's expecting to raise to win this race. And evidently she, according to the FEC filings, she loaned her campaign $268,000. It'd be nice to have that laying around to, just shove into a campaign. Like when I ran in my primary, I raised about $35,000 in my bid, and it's tight, but you get out and you go and you shake the hands and you talk to people and you do all the things you can. With $268,000, I would have been able to run a really hard primary, and do a lot of good in that way, but I guess that's not enough money for her. Maybe the support isn't coming in. It's going to Alvarado and Dotson. So this is kind of interesting. I was hoping she would be out of Madison County politics, but here we are. What are your all thoughts?
Yeah, it's a bummer because I was hoping that was going to be an open seat down there, and that maybe in the kind of Trump backlash landscape would be one that would give, an open seat's easier to pick off than an incumbent, right?
Right.
We all know that. So, hoping that, we could get better representation in Frankfurt, but as an incumbent, she's probably like a lot safer in that seat than trying to pick up the 6th district. Although I will, as much as we love the Kentucky Lantern, I will fault them for not including Greg Plusinski in their list of remaining GOP candidates in the 6th district. We covered this when he entered in the race. He's like a bio tech thing. I don't know what his business is exactly, but he's from, I think, Nicholasville, and I don't know. He's not been making waves. I haven't, besides his like announcement story, I have not seen him in the news. But I haven't seen any of these guys in the news, really. Even Alvarado and Dotson, who should know how to work the media a little bit better. So yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, we kind of have seen a lot from the Democrats running for the 6th district, probably because we're a little more sensitive to that side of the race. But yeah, interesting to see her drop out, and kind of bummed just because of what it means for the state house.
I feel like that something you just pointed out. Like I see stuff moving around, or Democrat candidates getting out and doing a lot of stuff, trying to get their name out there and talking to people. But I rarely see Republicans doing that, hosting some town hall thing for you to go out and meet them and talk to them, and it's always kind of like, what are they doing to get the support that they need?
Apparently, you're just fundraising, right? Again, and the fact that she raised a lot of money from your perspective, but was not enough from her perspective, really just goes to show kind of what this is all about and what this race is all about.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, we got one more quick thing, right? And then we should jump.
Right. I was going to say, pull that picture back up again.
Yes, go Richmond. Go Richmond. Yes, this beautiful billboard. Your president is a felon. I've had so many people post this on Facebook. Yeah, it's nice to see. It gives me hope that for Richmond and Madison County.
Hopefully, folks are I don't know if it's like it's not a new story that you're telling people. I don't know that Trump is a felon is really the thing that's like motivating people to be to be annoyed with Trump right now. So I'm not sure, like, is that the message you want to use? But I'm glad someone is like taking out a huge billboard and, talking smack about Trump. That's for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Kimberly, what you got?
I was just going to say, pull that picture up of the candidate again.
Oh.
Doesn't she look like that actress? Look at her hair and everything. You remember that show that used to come on TV? What was that show called? Do you all remember?
You are going to have to help me out more. I don't know. I don't know who she looks like. Is she Punky Brewster?
Yeah, was it Punky? Yes. That's her.
All right.
That's her.
All right.
That's her. Thank you, Aaron, for coming up with that.
All right, we should definitely get to our guest at this point. If we're talking about Punky Brewster, I think it's time to move on. All right, so this is a big thrill. I want to thank Kimberly for kind of making it happen. But Hannah Drake is a poet. She is an activist. She is a political strategist. And we are thrilled that she is our guest on this week's Kernels of Truth. Hannah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, no, absolutely. And, you play a big role kind of in the universe, I feel like. You do a lot. I was kind of recently reminded of some of your important work because I saw a video of you speaking at, I think, one of Louisville's No Kings rallies, I believe. Uh-huh. Super powerful, really challenging words that really want to make me bring you on the show. We've been working in coalition to support the Lexington rallies, helping lead the October No Kings event. I wanted to see what role you see these mass mobilizations playing in efforts to marshal resistance to that authoritarian efforts by the Trump MAGA regime, and what led you to take part in the No Kings in Louisville.
I think they're extremely important. I know when I look at other countries that are protesting, it's like the entire country is in the street. And I've often wondered, at what point will the United States, will everybody descend in the streets and really protest? I think it's great to protest. However, I think there needs to be a consistent protesting, people consistently upset, people consistently in the streets, because I think it's convenient for this administration to say, oh, they're going to protest on Saturday and they're going to keep making policies, and so I think it's good to show a good number of Americans are angry and they're upset enough to be out in the street. And we need to be at the point where we're angry and upset enough that you're out in the street every single day.
Yeah. It's so hard, right? There's because there's so much to be mad about.
Yeah.
I don't know. And your point about people just, everyone comes out.
Yeah.
We worked really hard to get who we got out. And it was over 10,000 folks in Louisville, 7,000 to 9,000 folks in Lexington. I think overall across the course of the state, we saw about 34,000 people protest, which we were astounded at seeing some of these small town protests pulling out thousands of people, which is really awesome and amazing. But it's how do you keep it up? How do you make an impact? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a challenging time. And I don't know, any thoughts you have about how you keep it up, how you build it up, and why you got to keep doing it.
It is challenging, and the audience may not like this, but it's simply the truth. You're going to be inconvenienced. You're going to be inconvenienced. It's every day. It is every day in the street protesting, and you're going to be inconvenienced. When people think about the Montgomery bus boycott, that wasn't we're gonna not ride the bus on the weekends, right? Mm-hmm. That was every day for hundreds of days consecutively, and they were inconvenienced. Some of them had to walk miles to work, and then you had to walk home, and you were inconvenienced. And so I think some of us were comfortable. And this is not a dig at the protest, because I was there and I fully support the protest. I'm just saying, keep protesting. If you did it Saturday, do it Sunday too. And if you did it Sunday, go back out there Monday and do it every day. Yeah. The bus boycott would not have been successful if they said we're just not going to ride the bus on Fridays once a month or once every 3 months. Then nobody cares. But if they say we're going to impact you financially, because really we know what it boils down to with the bus, was impacting a lot of people financially every single day, and we're going to keep doing it, it's going to be relentless, because the Trump administration is relentless. It's every day. Every day you wake up, it's something different. Every day you wake up, it's a new executive order. Every day you wake up, it's a new city with the National Guard. Every day that you wake up, it's some new policy. It's relentless. So you have to match that energy, and you don't match that energy once a month. And this is no dig. Again, I support the protest. I was there, and whenever they call me, I try to come out to speak. Yeah. But it has to be, you have to be as relentless as this administration is.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And the inconvenience piece of it, right? It's that Montgomery bus boycott, it was not, it was real. They had to set up alternative transit for people, basically, right? Because people needed the bus to get to where they needed to go. So some people could walk more or whatever, but they also had to take care of folks through their own community organizing, right? They're mutual aid kind of that they had to set up, right? Because it was truly, at the end of the day, that was an economic protest. Right, yeah. Removing that money from that system that relied on those black riders, right? Yeah, people forget about that. I think that's a really important point. Hey, so Kim, I think you got a question for Hannah. Kim, you're on mute.
Of course. What would it be, kernels of truth, if Kimberly did not forget to unmute herself? Okay, I'm steadily over here talking. So I do, at the end, I do have a couple of comments to make upon that first question that Aaron asked you. But My specific question that I have for you today, Miss Hannah, whom I love so much and admire. I mean,
I love you back.
I know you do, girl, because you know I love you. I got backup today. So, look, we've seen growing opposition to the Trump administration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Be that in his 40% approval rate, which is probably going to go down some more,
Mm-hmm.
or the election outcomes delivering big losses to the GOP.
Yep.
What's your take, Hannah, on how he's seen in Kentucky these days? Should we anticipate opportunities in Kentucky in 2026?
I think,
How does
yeah.
her lens as a strong Black woman inform your view of Trump, and how do you see your community responding to him? Well, how do we see our community responding to him?
I think across the nation, the GOP should be concerned. The thing is, and sometimes you just overplay your hand, and GOP certainly overplayed their hand. And you know me, I have to be honest. It's how we got to where we are today. A lot of people are comfortable with things as long as it only happens to Black people, and they're comfortable with things as long as it's brown people, and they're comfortable with it as long as it's the LGBTQ community, right? But typically they're just comfortable with it, and we saw this with certainly all the DEI stuff. The DEI stuff did not just start happening when this administration got into office. It was happening beforehand. They started this in Florida. This started with the Stop Woke Act. Okay. And so Black people were yelling then and screaming then, something is happening here. It's happening in Florida, and it will take place across the nation if we're not paying attention. Right. And then it was kind of silent about that. Okay, it was just fine. And then they were snatching, and they still are snatching immigrants off the street. And a lot of people were silent about that. And then people said, wait a minute, it's only a matter of time before they start snatching anyone off the street. And then we saw that happen. It's always only a matter of time with this administration. And sadly, a lot of people thought they would be okay. And now they see you're in the boat with us. It's everybody. Everybody's being impacted. When you seek to harm Black people or LGBTQ people or disabled people or brown people, you are going to end up hurting yourself, because Dr. King said we are inescapably intertwined. We cannot get away from each other. It's just the way America is set up. So when you start hurting Black people, eventually it's going to be at your doorstep. And now it's at the doorstep of a lot of people who didn't anticipate it being at their doorstep. You all were talking about farmers earlier. And now farmers, it's like the light bulb came on. And oh, wait a minute, you do like handouts, right? You do like getting assistance from the government, because that's what's happening now, and that's what's been happening. But a lot of farmers voted for Donald Trump. Why? Because it wasn't impacting them. And now they see. Now you've lost your farm. Now you can't sell your crops to China. Now you've been impacted. So now you're concerned. What I need people to do is be concerned before the entire plane is on fire. Be concerned when you start seeing the smoke. Don't start being concerned when the flames are engulfing us. Because perhaps, if we had been concerned and we stuck to it, we were concerned in 2020 because that was real cute. We had our little signs. We could take a little Instagram pic, and I'm protesting against racism. And look at me, I'm out here on Instagram, and I'm gonna make a TikTok. And that was cute for 2020. And then people forgot. It's every day that you need to fight against injustice. It's every day, because, like I said, racism doesn't sleep. And then Biden won, and people thought, oh, I can get back to going to brunch again. No, no. Because yes, Biden did win, but the real winner of that election, which I tried to tell people, was racism. That was the real winner. And those people didn't go home and say, oh, well, we lost and we're just going to sip tea and eat crumpets. No, they organized, they planned, They told us the plan. They literally handed us the plan. They said, here's Project 2025. And many of us couldn't even bother to read it. And now we want to act shocked and surprised. The smoke has been here. And so yeah, I think there will be some people upset. And they will upset the GOP because it's at your doors. It's at your door now. So you have to fight. You understand what we've been saying for decades. This is not new. So for the Black community, none of this is new. None of us are waking up like, oh my God, America, how did we get here? America has always been here. The foundation of America is death, destruction, racism, chaos. So what are we pretending for? This is at the foundation of America. Can we be better? Can we be great? We can. This is not the road to greatness. This is not it. The road to greatness is unity. The road to greatness is justice. The road to greatness is looking out for your neighbor. That's the road to great. The road to greatness is healthcare. That's greatness. The road to greatness is not turning off people's heat in a cold snap. That's the road to greatness. So do we really want to be great? Do we really want to do the work to be great? That's the question for America. That's the question for voters. Do you want to be great, or do you want to keep living like this? This, to me, this isn't living.
That is true, Hannah, because you and I, we know from the moment we came out of our mama's womb, it was on.
Yeah.
It's been on like this, but it's very hurtful to see at this point, being a Black woman such as yourself, that we are just going all the way backwards. When I came out of high school, a lot of racist things were done to me. I didn't even know it was racist. Like my prom. I graduated in 85. So the white girls were still wearing Southern Belle. You know, the plantation with the crinoline and everything. And, you know, we didn't think anything was wrong with that until later on.
Yeah.
Which is a tragedy within itself. But I'm going to let Chris get ready to ask you a question, but I want to put this on your mind when you talk about consistency, because I think that's what you were saying earlier, consistency. We need to be consistent. But I know a lot of Black people are scared of getting rounded up in ICE because they're getting American citizens. They're writing names of all of us. They're probably writing names of us on this show and everything else, and that's fine. But look at Target. Yeah. They predict within the next 3 years, Target will be no more. They'll be bankrupt. Yeah. And it came from consistency of us not shopping there. So if we can bring down a Target, I'm pretty sure we can bring the government where it needs to be if we're consistent.
Yeah. It's the consistency and unity. And that's what scares a lot of people in leadership, is what could, and I'll just look at Kentucky. What could Kentucky be if our urban and rural really stood together? You know, if we really fought for each other, not fought against each other, but we stand together. What could Kentucky really be? What could we really be if we stood together to challenge the leadership? What could Kentucky really be? That's the part that I think scares people, is us getting together, that part. And so we spend time, it's the Republicans against the Democrats, and it's MAGA against this, and it's liberal this, and it's that, and it's black and white, and it's all the thing. What if we all just stood together and realized we aren't each other's enemy? What could we really be then? And I think some people in leadership are afraid of that, very afraid of that. Very afraid of us finally saying, wait a minute, all of us are getting screwed here. All of us are hurting. All of us are struggling to pay our bills. All of us are getting hit at the grocery store. All of us are looking at our healthcare thinking, oh God, how much is this going to go up? You know, and the sad part about it is pain and suffering levels the playing field, because all of us are getting hit. And if you haven't gotten hit yet, just keep living. Keep living. It'll be at your doorstep.
Right. Yeah. You make so many wonderful points, and thank you for being on the show with us.
Thank you.
And you're right. We have to be united. because our opposition is united. It's the United Corporations of America against the rest of us. And to kind of jump to a slight aside here, as we try to come together and try to pick new leaders in the midterms and stuff, we've got a Senate seat up for grabs. Thankfully, Mitch McConnell is finally stepping aside, and the Democrat side for this seat is pretty full, and we just got a new person jumping in who's ran for this seat before, Charles Booker. And I'm curious about your thoughts about how you think the primary will shake out, and then further down on for the general.
I think right now of course, Kentucky is not New York, and this is not a Senate race, but we saw the upset in New York, what happened. But New York is, highly progressive, and I knew that they would vote for the mayor-elect Mamdani. I knew that just because of how New Yorkers tend to vote and think. But I don't think anyone should be comfortable because of everything that has happened in this nation, because of so many people suffering, that I don't think Republicans should be comfortable. I don't think anybody, if you're running for the seat and you're a Democrat, you certainly shouldn't think, oh, I've got this in the bag. I think every vote needs to be earned. I don't think there should just be, especially amongst Democrats, because it's always been like this expectation that Black people are just going to vote for the Democrat candidate. I don't think it should be that way. You should have to earn somebody's vote. What do you have to offer the people of Kentucky? So whether it's Charles, or it's Rep. Stevenson, or whoever may be in the seat, I think every seat is fully up for grabs. I really do, in this climate. If the climate was not this way, I may not feel that way. But I think we are getting to the point of suffering, and for some people, the point of no return, that they will vote for anyone if they're talking about helping them out of this madness that we're in.
Yeah. You were talking about we will be inconvenienced to go out and protest every day, which we should be, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting thinking about that, and also thinking about, we are already so inconvenienced in so many ways, whether it be healthcare, like, look, people spend hundreds of dollars a month for healthcare that they never use because they're worried about having to spend thousands of dollars if they use it. I've been in that position, and so that's a huge inconvenience. I need healthcare that will try to keep me healthy and not going to cause me to go bankrupt. And we've got food that is more of a food-like product, causing people to be sick. And instead of real wholesome food that nourishes people, but we seemingly don't notice a lot of that stuff, and just kind of put blinders on and then keep going. And I'm just curious of how much of that suffering do you think we need to get to as a nation before going out and protesting every day is going to happen?
Yeah, and I've said this before, and the unfortunate reality is that it's gonna have to hurt for some people until they believe that what's happening in this nation is happening. It's not going to feel good. You are going to be heavily inconvenienced, and like someone said earlier about mutual aid, and you may not have all the money, and you may not have the food on your plate that you want to eat, and you may have to sacrifice this, and you're going to have to share that. It's just the reality of what's going to have to take place if we want change in America. If we don't want change in America, we can just keep doing what we're doing, but it will not change. I liken this. I told people, if you have a leak in your house, a water leak in your house, the very first thing that you need to do is go shut off the water. You can't just go patch it up every other day and say, I'm just going to let the water keep running. right? It will only get worse. What we're seeing happening in America will only get worse until the people, we the people, stand together and say that's enough. That's what's going to have to happen, and it's just not going to feel good. It's not, and anything that some of us have lost, the only thing that I can guarantee is that you will probably lose more if we are to do what I believe needs to be done in order to change the trajectory of where we're going. It means we're going to have to be inconvenienced. It means we're going to have to lose some of our comforts. That's just the reality. That's just what it is.
I wonder, that idea that like, okay, so there's a backlash against Trump because what he's doing is so like horrific and so like obviously horrific, right? But
Yeah.
then on the other side, you've got like, okay, so does that mean the Democrats are just kind of looking to get back to pre-Trump, which honestly wasn't really awesome,
Right.
right?
Hello.
Right. So like, so somebody like Mamdani, I think, who actually had like clear,
Yeah.
like these are things that I'm going to do that are different than what we've had before, right? It wasn't just a blowback against Trump; it was a vision of something better and something different.
Thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you.
So-
Because yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And so as you look at our Kentucky, and I'm going to try to pin you down a little bit, as you look at our Kentucky political landscape, like, you think there are people who are offering up that like alternative, right? Not just a defender of the status quo, not just in opposition to Trump, but like getting us to better. Is there anyone that's really speaking to you right now?
There is no one that is speaking to me right now, but people can speak to me, but it just has not happened yet because I do agree. A lot of people want to get back to like the pre-Trump days. That will not work. And another thing that will not work that I really do not want Democrats to lean into is we are not Trump and that's our strategy. We know what this administration is doing. What do you have to offer the people? People want to afford their housing. People want to afford food. People want to afford healthcare. People want to have a little bit of money to put aside and be able to go on vacation. People want to be able to send their kids to college. What are you offering the people? And it can't just be, I'm not Donald Trump. I don't like Donald Trump. That's not a policy. That's not a strategy. That will not work. You have to give people something in this moment to grab onto so they can have some hope and believe that things can be better in this nation. And just saying I'm anti-Trump and I'm not like Trump isn't enough. That's not going to work. If you're against Trump, what are you for? Tell the people what you're for and how you're going to change their lives for the better. I don't want pre-Trump America. I want a better America. I want America to believe what I believe it can be. That's the America that I want. And it is not pre-Trump America because that was not when America was great. No, it wasn't.
Awesome. Kimberly, I got to be respectful of our guest's time. And so, Kimberly, I'm giving you a final question.
Okay. 2-part question, real quick.
Yep.
Okay. Do you believe that the Black Lives Matter movement that happened in 2020 and 2021, do you think that was just a ploy that corporate America used? Because I remember even Estee Lauder, they did a big thing. All the corporations were blacking out their social media and even on the commercials, we believe in Black Lives Matter. And then it seemed like I blinked my eyes and we're getting rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So was it because we were out in the streets every day? Remember, we were out in the streets every day. Did we put that pressure on corporate America to have those views, and they try to do more programs for diversity and all of that? And then we stopped being in the streets, like you said. And then they embraced this getting rid of DEI. And then the second thing I want to know from you, do you believe that Congressman Morgan McGarvey has done enough since his vote?
Yeah. The first question, I think, corporations have missions and values and things of that nature. And if being pro DEI and Black Lives Matter and all that is really at the core of who your organization is, the foundation of your organization, you will not be swayed in the wind. Nothing can sway you, right? Target easily swayed. You're not rooted in anything. You did something because that was the thing to do in 2020. That was just what we do. Okay, we're good. They're protesting. We see an injustice. We're going to, slap Black Lives Matter on some merch and sell it, and whatever the case may be. But it's not rooted in anything. And so it was easily to uproot it, very easy to uproot it, because it was not baked into the corporation. When something is baked into the foundation of something, you cannot easily just remove it. So I believe that's what happened, and now we see who was really about that life and who really wasn't. So you have a corporation like Costco, and then you have a corporation like Target. So I'm gonna rock with Costco for now, and I hope that this is rooted in who they are. And as far as Rep McGarvey, people saw my comments on social media with his vote on that proclamation or whatever it was called. Very upsetting. So no, he's not done enough. I'm not going to forget it. Um, I I am stunned to show up at a Black church after this vote to say what? To do what? I'm confused with that. So no, that enough hasn't been done. And even apologizing at this point, apologizing for the vote or trying to walk back the vote, it's already done. The egg has already been scrambled. You've already done it. And when the rubber met the road, it was not rooted in your foundation. If it was rooted in your foundation, you wouldn't have voted the way that you did.
And this was, in case folks missed it, this was a proclamation kind of honoring Charlie Kirk.
Correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That he, Morgan McGarvey, voted in favor of, and then after the fact got a lot of blowback. Why would you be honoring a racist? And then he's been kind of in damage control in response to that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to soon forget it, because when it was time to stand up, as someone that is in DC to represent people that look like me, you did not stand up. And this is not the time for lukewarm activism and lukewarm policies. This is the time that you are either hot or you're cold. Pick one. But lukewarmness is not going to do it.
Awesome. So Hannah, thanks again for joining us. Thanks for your work wherever it is, because I think it's inspiring and challenging, and exactly the truth that so many of us need to hear, especially folks on the left need to hear this to be challenged. Anything you're doing right now that you want to share with folks, or anything you want to plug, or anything you're excited about right now?
Unknown project.
I'm sorry. I'm always going to talk about the Unknown Project. It is a project that myself and Josh Miller started to honor the lives of enslaved people in America, in the global African diaspora. Certainly, just to add real quick, I believe so many of the challenges that we face in America can be traced right back to the history of enslavement. So I think it's very important for people to learn about the past so we can start doing something better for the future.
Awesome.
Exactly. So awesome. Hey, Aaron, can I just tell her this one thing? Miss Donna Thompson Mears has been commenting on the show tonight. She's a wonderful fangirl of Miss Hannah Drake, and she put here, Hannah Drake is a wonderful follow. I listen to what she teaches, and I am becoming a much better person. What she has to say is fact. It's not always comfortable, but fact. It's our job to listen and learn.
Awesome.
I think that was beautiful, Hannah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Mears. So honored to have you join us. Come back whenever. And also, it's a little inconvenient, but the next time we have our mass mobilization in Lexington, we would be absolutely honored if you could come and speak to us for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so we need to close out the show. We've got a lot of amazing, I hope everyone had a great time listening to Hannah. Again, thank you so much, Kimberly, for lining her up and bringing her onto the show. Could you do us the honor of closing us out tonight?
I sure can. It has been quite a pleasure having Hannah on. I always learn so much from her. She's so well versed. She's not just Kentucky, she's not just national. This young lady, because she is younger than me, is international. Believe it or not, she is international and very well sought out. So it was a pleasure and an honor for her to come on our show tonight. So, let me do the disclaimer. Progress Kentucky is a nonprofit organization registered with the Kentucky Secretary of State and organized as a 501c4. We are affiliated with the Indivisible Project and Common Ground Kentucky Action, and we're also proud members of the Forward Kentucky Network. Progress Kentucky's goal is to educate, organize, increase voter turnout, and advance a progressive agenda through civic engagement. Please join us for our next show on December the 17th. We'll be joined by our author, Vanessa Williamson. She is the author of her new book, The Price of Democracy. Go ahead on and buy that book right now. You can order it on Amazon so you can follow along with us by next week. Great read, I'm telling you. Which this book looks at the importance and power of taxation. Production of episode 239 was by our own Miss Annabel, aka also known as Annabella Nagel, and she's also great and wonderful, and who is also our Flip the Sixth campaign director. We absolutely love this amazing young lady. Nate Orshan wrote and performed our theme song. You can find more information and music at natosongs.com. Everybody do it with me. natosongs.com, Nato songs.com. And if you miss our weekly live stream on Facebook or YouTube, audio podcasts and our show notes are always available on Apple, Spotify, and just about wherever you get your podcast. And when you do listen to us, please, 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 we beg of you, give us a 5-star review. You understand the algorithms. It helps us out wherever you may listen. Hey, to all of our listeners and viewers, we really appreciate you as we move into the new year. Make sure to take care of yourself, and we'll see you back next week, same channel. Have a great rest of your week.